Hey, my name is Brent here on Cloudy with the Chance of Meeples. Today on the channel, we are heading back to 1980, a year in which I was not yet born, but Pac-Man was born. And 45 years later, we are going to be diving into the board game Ultimate Pac-Man. And in this game, it's kind of like 1980 because the main mechanism in this game is roll and move. But before you turn off the video, hold the phone, because this game, Ultimate Pac-Man, was designed by the creators of Everdell. So surely there must be something more than just simply roll and move in this game, right? Let me show you how this plays in the radar overview. We'll come back. I'll share my final forecast. Cue thunder. So the radar overview for Ultimate Pac-Man looks something like this. In this game, you will be controlling a Pac-Man, whether it be the original yellow or red, green, or blue, and you'll be trying to collect Pac dots, eat your opponents, collect a fruit to have the most points. And how does this work? Well, let me just show you. Each player gets a little player board with matching life tokens, the little Pac-Man figurine, and depending in turn order, you'll start with some Pac dots. On your turn, you are going to do three things. First thing, optionally, you can spend Pac dots to activate some power-up cards. After that, you will roll dice and move your Pac-Man around the board, collecting Pac dots, getting a power pellet, eating the ghosts, collecting fruit, so on and so forth. And then after that, you will control the ghosts and kind of make them go after your fellow opponents. And then scoring shows on the back side of these player aids. But I'm just going to show you kind of one round, a couple turns of how this would play. When it's your turn, you will collect all the dice in front of you. And first, like I mentioned, you can spend your Pac dots to activate different powers. So this stack costs 1, 2, or 3. Clearly, ones are good, but not as good as 3. 3 lets you, move diagonally, gain 2 turn to blue tokens. You can eat a ghost anywhere. You get double food or double fruit, whereas the ones aren't as good and lets you refill fruit and then enter the tunnels and come out of different tunnels, so on and so forth. Move extra spaces. But on your turn, you're going to roll these dice and you will add the sum of them, and that's how many spaces you're going to move. If you ever roll something that you don't like, you can pay a Pac dot to re-roll it, hoping that you get a better outcome. So you'll roll that, and then you will place your Pac-Man on one of the starting spots. But if I was already on the board from previous turn, I would just then move now 7 spaces. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I pick up all these little Pac dots. Power pellet, we all know what that means. I would collect my fruit as well, put it there. And as soon as you eat one of these power pellets, the ghosts now turn to blue and you can then now eat them. After you resolve your turn as Pac-Man, you would then roll the ghost die and the movement die. So I'd roll these, and I also say it comes with this little cup that you can roll, a little shaker cup, which is a lot of fun. Anytime you roll the cherries, you then look, is there any empty space to put fruit? Yep, you put one of the top piles of tokens back on the board. And then in this case, I would then move Pinky 5 spaces. And I can see this is still Pinky, so this would be 1 because you always jump over a fellow ghost. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say that's where Pinky goes, and then it would be the next player's turn. But let's just, for instance, say it in fact is my turn again. And let's say this green guy came out here and is over here. Okay, then it's my turn again, and right now I can eat this ghost. So I would roll, you know what? I'm going to spend 2 power pellets to move my Pac-Man 2 more spaces this turn. So roll these guys. 4. That's not good. Spend that. I can do that. Spend this. I can do that. I got 9 movement. 7, 8, 9. So I can use a tunnel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I collected all of these things. Just a ridiculously good turn for me. All this is mine. Power pellet would come off the board. I ate this, so he goes there, and I gain one of these turn to blue tokens, which are worth 200 points at the end of the game. Put everything back on my little player board here. I am rolling because I got a lot of stuff on that turn. And then I would roll the pink die. Let's see. Imagine with me, I rolled this. That means all of the turn to blue ghosts are now not going to be, you can't eat them. And then I would now roll these, and I'd move the red one 6 spaces. So now 1, 2, 3, 4. As soon as I do that, 4. This goes back to its that owner. That owner would then have to give me one of their lives, which is worth 200 points at the end. And I moved it, 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't want it close to me, so I'm going to go 5, 6. So pretty much on your turn, you're moving Pac-Man around, your own character, collecting power pellets, or pack dots, power pellets, trying to eat the ghost, trying to eat also fruit to gain the most points. While then on the back half of your turn, you are then moving the ghosts towards your opponents to eat their lives, because the game is over as soon as somebody loses all of their lives. And then you go into final scoring. I will say that on this die, sometimes you will be able to put more pack dots. So if I'm here, let's say I'm here, anytime you roll this, you immediately would put all of the power pellets back on, and then you would put pack dots in the 8 spaces around if they can hold that. If you ever roll the fruit, you put that on. This allows you to remove any singular ghost 2 times. So that's on a couple times. You can then, like I showed you, make them not turn to blue. And so that will be that. Some of these are also, you can move any ghost or one of the specific 4 and up to 6. I'm wondering why this maybe didn't have a line on it, because it is 4, 5, 6, or 7. But it easily could be a 9. But at the end of the game, that's when somebody has lost all of their lives, and then you count up your score. You get 200 points for every life that you have either left of your own or of other players. You get 200 points for each of the turn to blue ghost tokens you have. You add up all of your tokens, the fruit that you captured or you ate. You get points for that. Whoever has the most turn to blue tokens gets a bonus 500 points. And then for each different type of fruit, you get an additional 100 points. And there's 8 different ones, so a maximum of 800 points. And every 4 power pellets, or I keep saying power pellets, these are power pellets. For each 4 pack dots that you have left, it is worth 100 points. I should also say, after you've used one of these abilities, you put it to the bottom so the next player can buy one of those. You can only buy one of these. And all the kind of reminders are on the board. The values are all here. Endgame scoring is here. And that is how you play Ultimate Pac-Man. Waka, 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 waka. Let's now move on over and take a look at the final forecast. So the final forecast for Ultimate Pac-Man. 45 years of Pac-Man goodness. And for 5 of those years, I was not alive. But let's dive into this game. I mentioned at the top of the video that this is a roll and move game. If you saw in the radar overview, you will be rolling these dice to move your Pac-Man around, to collect pack dots, to then spend pack dots to upgrade your, your turn to get a little power up. And you can also use those pack dots to mitigate your rolls. I like that. But before that, let's pull it back. This game has a great nostalgic feel. Set up on the table, it just reminds you of Pac-Man, and it should. I had Pac-Man for my PC back in 2000. Loved that game. Computer couldn't process it very well. It lagged endlessly, but I did enjoy the game nonetheless. And Pac-Man is an IP. It's a theme that lots of people are drawn to. Days of the Arcade, the Atari, so on and so forth. But this has, all these classic Pac-Man vibes to it. Of course, you got the yellow one and, red and green and blue. And then you got all the goofy ghosts. You got Clyde and Inky and Pinky and Blinky, I think the names are. And they just look good. They just remind you of Pac-Man. They get scared and you put the little masks on them that turn to blue. And so nice components. You have this little shaker that you're going to be using to roll the dice. This is a lot of fun because it just reminds you of Yahtzee. And there's just something about putting dice in a cup and rolling it that just gets kind of everybody around the table excited. So the components, for the most part, are good. I will say that this card is Ghost Control. There's a typo on the card, and the glossary is actually the correct rules. Your 2 dice, one is for you, one is for the ghost, not an additional movement with the ghosts. James, designer, let me know on that one. But yeah, pack dots, good. Dice are engraved. The ghost dice are not. Obviously, you couldn't engrave this one. It'd be a little tough. I know it's 4, 5, 6, 7. It would have been nice to put a dot underneath each of these to just remind players it is in fact not a 9. But minor thing. Fruit, good. Tokens, good. Player boards, I like the nostalgic look on it. Just the feel of this is just nostalgic. So if you're a fan of Pac-Man, just in general, even if you're like, man, I don't even want, the game looks boring to you, these are worth the price of admission. All these little figurines, I can just put them up on my game shelf. Look at that. Pinky's just hanging out there, terrified as always. But this is a roll and move game, but it has a way to mitigate that, and I like that. There's a little bit underneath the hood of this because it is designed by someone who plays hobby games. James Wilson and his wife Clarissa, they designed this, of course, known for Everdell. It's roll and move, but it has these pack dots. And these can become scarce, and that's a pro and a con for me, because you can only repopulate the board when you roll the one side of the die. And I've played games where the board has never repopulated. So whatever it starts with, you can never get more pack dots. And those are tense games, which can be good because if you want that tense feeling, it can also be bad because it can kind of feel a little stale at times. And so maybe it would have been nice that it would have been on this twice. But some will like that and some will not like that. But the pack dots, they feel scarce at times. But you have that decision of when are you going to use them to activate these power cards, because these can be pretty powerful. Of course, the single ones not as much, but anytime, picky eater, after eating a fruit, you get a free fruit on the just randomly from the pile. That's fantastic. Move your Pac-Man diagonally. You can move around the board that much quicker that turn. Ghosts, you can move diagonally so that you can kind of attack your opponents. And I'm not one for take that games, but I didn't feel that in this one because it kind of self-regulates. Game's over when someone loses their third life. And as you play, you're watching and kind of counting how many lives everybody has. Because if you just go after the same person repeatedly really quickly, the game's going to end really quickly and you might lose. And so you kind of have to look at that. And I feel the game self-balances itself by the players. The players kind of create the flow of the game, which again can be a positive, can be a negative, because if someone's just going after the same person and rushing the game, that person may not enjoy the game. I enjoyed this game. I like the special cards. When are you going to spend your card, or when are you going to spend your pack dots? Because every 4 pack dots is 100 points. So you do have to make that decision. Are you going to spend points to get points, obviously, or like where's the trade-off? And I'm making this sound way heavier than it is. It truly isn't. I like the variety in the fruit. I thought that was a nice added touch. And so you can gain just a whole bunch of different types of fruit, even if they're 100s or 200s. Those small ones with the variety up to getting all 8, which would be amazing, getting 800 points extra. I like that. I like the strategy of just gobbling up as many ghosts as you can. And obviously, you're going to take that advantage every time you have the opportunity to eat the ghost turn to blue, because each of these are worth 200 points. And if you have the most, that's 500 points extra. And so I play games where I've won getting this bonus. I've played games where I got that bonus and I still lost because others got more fruit than I had, so then they had the extra fruit bonus. And so there's a little bit of just a few different avenues. Not like tons, but there's just meaningful decisions in this roll and move game. And I like that. That was just a lot of fun. There is a little bit of fiddliness moving Pac-Man. And you might think, well, that's like the whole thing in the game. Isn't the whole game fiddly at that point? You kind of get used to it. So pretty much you can't just move your Pac-Man with one hand. It's pretty much move, pick up a dot, move, pick up a dot. And it doesn't, I made it sound like it's going to go so slow. It really doesn't. The game does move along pretty quickly, but it is a little bit fiddly trying to move your Pac-Man and pick up the Pac dots at the same time. Overall, I enjoy this. 70% chance of meeples. If you are just getting to the hobby, or you know people who are just getting into the hobby and they just typically play roll and move games, this is like a nice next step because you roll, but again, you can use your pack dots to re-roll and to mitigate rolling double ones, because we all know I roll double ones, you roll double fours, you're going to win the game. I'm going to lose. You're moving 4 times as many spaces as I am. So that's the detriment to roll and move. But with the addition of using these pack dots to mitigate that, it was a fantastic choice in game design. And so I think there's a little bit more underneath the hood in this one for gamers to kind of explore and just enjoy, even though it being a roll and move. So if you're a fan of Pac-Man, I think this is a slam dunk just for, the nostalgic look all on your table, having all these little figurines, absolutely fantastic. And even if you're not the biggest Pac-Man fan, but you want just this fun family game or a game that you can introduce to others, check out Pac-Man. Ultimate Pac-Man, let's just say that. Ultimate Pac-Man. Pick your Pac-Man. It's every Pac-Man for themselves. I enjoy this one. 70% chance of meeples. So take a look. My name is Brent. Until next time, grab your umbrella. The forecast is cloudy with a chance of meeples.